Experiencing the arrival of spring this year in England has made me feel incredibly nostalgic. It's been years since I was last here for springtime. Morning golden light, the song of blackcap, wren, robins. I found myself returning to many of my old nature spots. These are the woodlands where I first picked up a camera almost 15 years ago, and I have so many memories here. For someone I was always unlucky photographing were fox cubs. Until now. Over the past few weeks, I've spent over 100 hours with 2 different fox families. Red foxes have always been neighbours we are lucky to live alongside. Curious, caring, playful, and surprisingly foresightful, offering me a rare glimpse into the secretive world of red foxes. And in the process, I found myself returning to nature spots I'd long forgotten about. So join me for a nostalgic British spring, and I'll also reveal a secret project I've been working on. Being in England during the spring has made me so nostalgic from when I first started wildlife photography 15 years ago. I'm currently sat in a woodland, and I would consider this my local patch growing up. It's still quite far from home. I used to have to walk maybe 45 minutes to get here, but I have so many memories of this woodland, and I took some of my first ever wildlife photography photos, and I used to spend hours here looking for wildlife, learning about how to photograph wildlife, learning about wild animals, bird calls. Later in my teenage years, I actually befriended a family of kestrels, and I followed their fledglings during my exams for a couple of weeks. But one of the reasons I decided to make this video is actually because of some fox cubs. Technically, I didn't find them, it was my best friend's dad, and he has a plot at an allotment where it's like communal gardening, and so here is the fox family at the allotments. For hundreds of years, allotments have given local people a space to grow fruit and vegetables. Some plots are immaculate, while others have become wonderfully wild, almost forgotten. Perfect places for wildlife to hide and raise their young. This local fox family has discovered the perfect den for their cubs, beneath a shed. The allotments are mostly quiet, with gardeners visiting only once or twice a week.
and the tall fences keep dogs out, making it a very safe place for these cubs to play and explore. Dad Fox is incredibly patient with his demanding children. He spends most of his afternoons sunbathing beside them, tolerating being bitten and jumped on. These cubs are around 5 weeks old. Fox cubs are born with slate blue eyes, which gradually change to an amber brown by the time they reach 4 or 5 weeks old. As their eye colour changes, their vision rapidly improves too, though at this age they still look wonderfully goofy. Thankfully, they still have many more months with their parents to grow. After spending a week with this family, I became most familiar with Dad Fox. He's remarkably tolerant of people, often following me around and even licking my camera lens. I still wear camouflage though, as the vixen, the female, is far more cautious. But over time she's slowly begun to accept my presence too. It's difficult to count exactly, but there must be close to 10 foxes living around these allotments, and multiple adults help raise and protect the cubs. My first wild animal friend was also a male fox. He was quite sick, and my final memory with him was sitting together quietly in the garden sun. So when this Dad Fox fell asleep in front of me, it brought back many memories. I don't think there's a better feeling than a wild animal that feels so comfortable in your presence that it falls asleep beside you. At this age, the cubs have sudden bursts of energy before collapsing into a deep sleep for several hours. They never seemed too concerned by my presence. But after a couple of weeks of following this family, the parents eventually moved the cubs into a dense, fenced-off area of thickets that I could no longer access. Still, I had many wonderful evenings with this family, and somehow my luck continued.
It's so nice to be in London during spring. You might be able to hear a parakeet. That's one reason we stayed in London, is because of the warm weather. It's 20 Celsius today, and in Sweden this morning it was snowing. And it's not a nice snow, and I missed spring. It would be nice that I'm able to experience 2 springs this year. So I wanted to share this book. This was my first ever wildlife book. Actually, it's not mine. It was my grandma's, and this version was printed in 1986. And I recently refound this book, and I have so many memories of reading through this book. Very loud wren. Oh, there it is. And so I used to read this book and look at the illustrations, and it inspired so many ideas for dream photographs. I remember when I first started wildlife photography, I would actually take this book with me to help me identify some species, because I really was a novice, so I was learning everything from experience and actually going out into nature and working out birdsong. Now it's so much easier with phones. We can just use apps like Merlin to identify birdsong. But it's amazing coming back to this woodland, because this is where I saw my first ever badger. Badgers are generally quite easy to photograph if you find a den. As long as you're downwind, you're quiet, and you don't share your silhouette. Because their eyesight is so poor, you can get quite close and get photos. But the issue is with an urban environment and where there's lots of people in a city, small noises can easily disturb them and then they run off. And I've actually been having the same issue in the allotments with the fox cubs. Anyway, I'm going to keep walking. So I've started to have a look at my photos, and my favourite for sure is this 5-week-old fox cub in the forget-me-not flowers. I love the light. The fox cub is super cute and small, but I thought I'd show you an incredibly important tool I use in my workflow. In order to capture wildlife in low light, we often need to be shooting in dusk or before sunrise in low light, or using a high shutter speed to capture movement, and this forces you to use a high ISO, and unfortunately this results in a lot of noise. And one of the ways I'm able to fix this is with Pure Raw 6 by DxO, who have sponsored this video. This is their most powerful denoising engine that delivers cleaner and sharper images in challenging light conditions. This photo was taken at ISO 6400, and when you zoom into the eyes, you can really see the noise. Pure Raw 6 now has a breakthrough compression technology that produces DNG files up to 4 times smaller, with absolutely no loss in image quality or editing flexibility. The other really important feature for me is that it has a plugin in Adobe Lightroom Classic, but you can also use it in the standalone app. But I love to use the plugin because it fits into my workflow naturally. DxO actually offers a range of photo and video softwares, and if you're interested and a new customer, you can use Danny15 for 15% off at shop.dxo.com.
After 15 years of never photographing fox cubs, I couldn't quite believe it when I discovered a second family with cubs. But the dynamics here are completely different. This family lives in a busy suburban garden park. Without any dogs around, these foxes roam safely and freely. These pockets of woodlands and gardens form a haven for wildlife within London's urban mosaic. One of the most beautiful things about foxes is their strong family bonds. This family actually has 2 litters of cubs. one belonging to this vixen and another to her mother, mother and daughter raising cubs together. As the park slowly became quieter in the evening, it was time for me to put on my camouflage and wait patiently. Mum soon arrived, carrying a grey squirrel she had cached earlier in the bushes. These cubs are older, bolder, and for the mums, perhaps slightly more exhausting. These cubs are also far more wary of me, so I stay as quiet and hidden as possible. Some individuals seem completely unfazed by my presence, while others remain cautious. But the younger vixen, the daughter, is definitely one of the prettiest and boldest fox I've met. All of this foxy business and the arrival of spring has left me feeling inspired. And finally, I can share a secret project I've been working on.
We've just had a cosy little picnic with scones and British strawberries from this year. But before I show you this secret envelope, I thought I'd explain why I have created it. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has recently felt overwhelmed by the noise of social media. I'm seeing a lot of people are thinking about quitting social media. Not YouTube, but the platforms that you endlessly scroll, and there's so much AI content. On a different topic, my videos and photos of wildlife have been removed because they have been reported as AI, even though I have spent the time outside trying to capture real wild animals and they just get reported. And I wanted to spend my time being creative and sharing this creativity with you that's not through a screen. And so I have created a mail club. This mail club is called Letters from the Wild, and for me it encompasses all the different creative things that I enjoy: writing, painting, photography, of course, and craft. And the idea is that each month you'll receive a letter that is an extension of a video. So this one is on the theme of nostalgic spring, red foxes, the arrival of wildflowers, and you'll receive a letter, a photography print, and also I have painted these foxes, which was very fun, and it's also on the cover of the envelope, and it also comes with stickers. And this really is not about making money for me. At the moment, the profit margins are tiny. It's really about a creative project that I will really enjoy creating, and it is something real and tangible that you will get posted to you every month. Maybe once I get a good enough amount of subscribers, I can lower the price. And it has also been so fun just working out how to do this and put it together. And I have like a little sticker holding the letter, and the letter holds everything together. So I've really enjoyed this.
I was about to end the video, but there's still so much more fox cubs to share. So let's return to the daughter Vixen. One evening, as I was watching her resting quietly, one of her cubs suddenly came tumbling out of the bushes and began playing and jumping on Mum right in front of me. It even sat down to drink milk. The cub was slightly wary, but more than anything, curious. It almost acted like a nosy toddler, as if thinking, "Who exactly are you? And why does my mum seem completely unbothered by your existence?" It was such a privilege to watch this mum and her cub playing. She was constantly grooming the cub. It was actually one of my targets this summer to photograph fox cubs, and I assumed it would happen in Sweden. I'm still hopeful that I may still find a fox den in Sweden. But since foxes are hunted in our area, there will be many different challenges in trying to photograph the family. If you'd like to support our British foxes, I've added a petition in the description that you can sign to help to ban trail hunting in the UK.
I really hope you've enjoyed this video. It has been so nice to explore my local patch and of course follow these family of foxes. The fox cubs are just adorable. Do have a look at the mail club. It is through my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.